And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We all know what it's like to buy that new car, drive it off the lot, and take it home. But what happens if you get a car and then get that call a few days later from the dealership saying, sorry, the deal didn't go through. Now bring back the car, add more money to your down payment. It's a situation many Americans go through in what's called yo-yo car sales. Tonight, we tell you how to handle it with Ed Gardner.
What is that exactly?
Well, actually, when you buy a car, a lot of times with the dealership, you have what's called a spot sale, where you buy the car and you walk home with it and the banks are closed and you think your financing is finished, but it probably isn't. Because a lot of banks, of course...
And really quick, Ed, some salesmen will tell you that you're financed and you're good. Some of them will.
That's right. And so what happens is you think everything's final, but unfortunately, a lot of people, you know, when you go to the financing, they tell you here, sign here, sign here, sign here, and people don't read the documents. So there could be a statement in there in a section, say, seller's right to cancel. See, dealerships make money on selling a car, but they also make more money on selling off the loans to other lenders, you know, the insurance contracts you have, other add-ons that they have. And so they want to try to make as much money as they can. And sometimes they try to sell the loan off and they don't make the interest they want to. So then they come back to a person and you need to look at the contract and see, does the seller have a right to cancel? You want to look for that. And in your agreement, you want to see if they have any contingencies. Because it could, if in the paperwork, the loan that you have, if it has that they have a contingency to sell the loan, they typically have a period of maybe like 10 days that they have to sell that off. And so
now, Ed, really quick, you're caught in between a rock and a hard place because the average person, you know how many documents you sign when you buy a new car. The average person is not going to sit there and read each document. So are there any tips to look for those documents that may indicate that this is tentative and not a full sale that may actually not go through? What would you look for in something like that?
Well, the first tip I'd like to give you so you don't have this problem, Isaiah, is to go to a bank or a credit union before you go purchase the car and get your financing with them. Then you don't have to have this issue with the dealerships and you don't have to worry about this. But when you do go into financing, read the document if you don't understand it and also say, are there any contingencies? Can you please explain those to me? Is this my final interest or does the dealership have a right to cancel to where they can sell the loan? So you need to ask those type of questions.
Now, what if you run across a salesman who will not tell you that? And you know there are some sleazy salesmen out there.
Well, typically the salesman may not be the one. It's the person in the finance department that you go to after you sign the contract with the salesman. Because unfortunately, with these yo-yo sales, when people get a call from the dealership, of course, they have the right to bring the car back and to get their down payment. And should they have sold your trade-in, they have to give you the proceeds from the trade-in. And of course, if you've had any mileage or restocking fees, that they say that they're not eligible to get that. You don't have to pay anything extra. So you always.
There have been some people, Ed, who have refused to take the car back and found themselves in a lot of trouble, even though they believe they have a binding agreement with the sale. They're like, well, we have an agreement. We have documentation. I'm not bringing the car back. And then the dealership, in some instances, report the car stolen. So you find yourself in legal problems, facing legal problems, criminal charges.
Right. They have a right to possess the car, and they could go to that extreme of saying that the car was stolen. Another thing that people need to do, Isaiah, is that get copies of the documents that you sign and see if there are any blanks, because you don't want someone that's not honest to maybe fill something in afterwards.
All right. Ed Gardner, always good to see you here on The Factor Uncensored. We appreciate your time tonight, sir.